A lion doesn't need to tell you he's a lion. The jungle already knows. What if I told you the most dangerous man in any room isn't the one shouting? It's the one who's silent, still, watching. Because danger doesn't always announce itself with volume. It radiates from presence, from discipline, from control, from a soul that has walked through hell and built a home there. Before we unlock how to become that man, the man others fear, admire, or can't figure out, make sure to subscribe to the channel. This isn't motivation. This is transformation. Now let's begin. He walks into the room. Doesn't say much. Doesn't need to. You feel it. That invisible pressure. That tension. It's not arrogance, it's certainty. Not showmanship, but substance. Other men try to be loud, flashy, overcompensating with energy because deep down, they're empty. But this man, he's different. He's quiet, but he could destroy you if he wanted to. Who is he? He's the man who's mastered himself. And in today's soft, distracted, validation-hungry world, he's the rarest species alive. We live in an age where men are taught to be harmless. Harmless. Not honorable, not disciplined, not controlled, just inoffensive. Comfort is sold like a drug. Fast food, faster dopamine, endless scrolling, porn addiction, infinite distractions. You're encouraged to be a consumer, not a conqueror, a passive boy, not a principled man. And yet, men are starving. Not for calories, but for meaning. They don't know why they feel anxious, depressed, invisible. But I'll tell you the truth. A man without discipline is a man without a spine. And without a spine, you can't walk upright in the battlefield of life. You want to be dangerous? It begins by becoming your own harshest master. Becoming dangerous doesn't mean being violent. It means being capable, focused, clear. It means you can say no to the wrong temptations, even when no one's watching. It means you carry a code within you that even fire can't burn away. And it begins with the rejection of one thing: modern weakness. You stop seeking comfort. You stop chasing women. You stop craving validation. And you begin to train in the shadows. Nobody claps. Nobody sees it. But when you're doing push-ups at 5 a.m. alone, when you're reading Marcus Aurelius while others are binging Netflix, when you ignore the dopamine trap and sit in silence, uncomfortable with your own thoughts, that's when you start becoming dangerous. Disappear. Not to run, but to rebuild. There's power in going ghost, vanishing from the noise, cutting off the dead weight. When you stop replying to every message, every DM, every worthless group chat, you send a message to yourself. I am no longer available to the world, because I am becoming something the world cannot handle. This is where the most dangerous men are forged, in solitude, in stillness. In silence so thick it exposes every weakness inside you and forces you to face it. No man becomes unshakable by accident. He becomes that way because he went to war with his lower self and came out cold, focused, awake. But there's a dimension no one talks about. You can train the body, you can sharpen the mind, but the most dangerous men are spiritually alert. They sense energy. They understand that porn isn't just addiction. It's a theft of masculine power. That meaningless hookup culture isn't freedom. It's fragmentation of your soul. They channel their energy upward, into their work, their mission, their purpose. Because they remember a truth most men forgot. You're not just muscle and skin. You're fire, spirit, breath, war. When you awaken to this, you stop letting the world sedate you. You unplug from digital dopamine. You feel urges rise, but instead of indulging, you transmute them. And your eyes, those same eyes that once looked for pleasure, become focused like a sniper. This is spiritual warfare. And if you win it, you become untouchable. Now, let's talk about what really shakes men these days. Women. Not in theory, in reality. The modern dating market is a circus. Algorithms, filters, attention currency. The rules have changed, but most men haven't caught up. You think your value lies in how nice you are? In texting good morning? In simping over her stories? Let me be blunt. Kindness without boundaries is weakness. The dangerous man doesn't chase. He attracts, not by playing games, but by becoming unavailable. Not physically, but energetically. Women don't want a man who needs them. They want a man so full in himself, so busy building his empire, that her presence is earned, not expected. She tests you. You pass by walking away. She plays hot and cold. You remain stoic. You don't react. You observe. Because a man who can master himself will never be mastered by anyone else. You think this is all theory. Let me tell you about Darius. He was just like most men. Overweight. Addicted to porn. Working a job he hated. Ghosted by women. He used to spend 6 hours a day watching Twitch streams and TikToks. One day, he caught his reflection in a store window and didn't recognize himself. He went ghost. Deleted social media. Hit the gym. Read 30 books in 4 months. Cold showers. Daily prayer. 4 a.m. wake-ups. He said no to parties, to girls, to cheap dopamine. And 9 months later, Darius walked into a networking event in silence. Men moved aside. Women noticed. He didn't need to speak. He was the message. So the question isn't, can you become that man? It's, will you pay the price? Because the next step, the final transformation, requires something far deeper than cold showers or sit-ups. It requires you to kill your old identity, to bury the version of you that needed comfort, validation, and escape, and rise as something reborn, focused, fire-tested, fearless. But to unlock that final level, to become the most dangerous man in any room, you'll need to confront one thing that's been silently destroying modern men for decades. And that is where we go next. The thing silently destroying modern men isn't visible. It's not the economy. It's not politics. It's self-betrayal. Every time you say you'll wake up early, but you snooze the alarm. Every time you say, this is the last time I'll watch that, but you cave to lust. Every time you make a promise to yourself and break it, you chip away at your soul. And here's the brutal truth. A man who cannot trust his own word will never be trusted by the world. That's why most men aren't dangerous. Not because they're weak on the outside, but because they've abandoned themselves on the inside. They look strong on Instagram, but inside, they're at war with their shadow and losing. But what if you stopped betraying yourself? What if your word became law? What if every action aligned with your mission and you burned the bridges to your past? The final evolution begins here, not in noise, not in applause, but in silence, where transformation always begins. The most dangerous man is not the one who fights others. He's the one who's already defeated himself. The lazy version, the lustful version, the addicted, anxious, approval-seeking version. He put those parts of himself to death daily, because every day is a funeral for the old you, and every morning is a resurrection of the man you're meant to become. There is no finish line. There's only the fire, and whether or not you'll stay in it long enough to emerge forged. Let me ask you something. Can you sit with boredom without reaching for your phone? Can you stay celibate until your mission is complete? Can you train without results, grind without applause, believe without seeing? Because that's where the power is. Not in achievement, but in alignment, with principle, with purpose, with pain. Men today are running from pain. But the dangerous man? He doesn't run from it. He runs into it. He uses it. He turns heartbreak into fuel, rejection into redirection, loneliness into legacy. That's the power of solitude. It shows you who you really are. No noise, no distractions. Just you, and the truth you've been avoiding. The dangerous man doesn't fear silence. He becomes it. He's the storm behind stillness, the loaded weapon behind a calm gaze, the man who could destroy you, but chooses not to, because restraint is power. Because he knows, the man who needs to prove he's dangerous isn't. Let's talk about presence. You've met those men before. They walk in, and something changes in the room. They don't speak. They don't posture. They just are. Why? Because presence is earned in pain. It's the quiet reward of 10,000 lonely reps, of tears cried in secret, of early mornings when no one saw but God did. It's the stillness of a man who's bled, who's rebuilt, who's risen, who walks not with arrogance, but with certainty. Not everyone notices, but the right people do. And what about women? They sense it. You don't even have to speak. They see it in your walk, in your posture, in your eyes. You're no longer a boy pretending to be confident. You're a man who's not available to chaos. You don't chase. You don't argue. You don't beg. You choose. You lead. You walk away when peace is threatened. And that's magnetic. Because the most dangerous man isn't the one trying to impress her. He's the one she can't quite figure out. He's disciplined. He's grounded. He's not swayed by beauty because he's already built something more beautiful. His mission. Now let's flip the lens inward. Who are you becoming? Not who do you want to be, but who are you training to be, because wanting means nothing. Men want respect. Men want power. Men want peace. But only a few are willing to earn it, to bleed for it, to die for it, figuratively and even spiritually. And that's where you make your decision. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, you've heard enough. You know what must be done. No more scrolling, no more porn, no more lies to yourself. Delete the apps. Wake up earlier. Sit in silence. Lift the weights. Read the old books. Pray. Fast. Write your code. Work on your craft. Because nobody's coming to save you. You either become your own savior, or you remain a slave to the version of yourself the world designed. But make no mistake, the moment you decide, truly decide, to become the most dangerous man in any room, the universe shifts. People treat you differently. Doors open or slam shut for your good. You attract allies. You expose enemies. And most of all, you respect yourself. And when you respect yourself, you become unstoppable. So here's the final challenge. Tonight, go dark, light a candle, look in the mirror, and ask yourself, who must I become? Then answer it not with words, but with action, with fire, with commitment. Because the world doesn't need more men trying to be liked. It needs men who are willing to be feared, because they cannot be bought, broken, or bent. You want to be the most dangerous man in any room? Then become the man no one sees coming. Until one day you walk in, say nothing, and everyone feels it. If you felt this in your soul, don't just watch. Act, subscribe for more real talk like this. Comment below, I'm building the weapon. And share this with a brother who needs to remember who he is. This isn't a channel. This is a movement, and we're just getting started.